joining us tonight. I know a lot of times in a pretty good group that came in here tonight, so thank you for joining us. Also, we've got a few people that are joining us online, so thank you again on that side. So for tonight, we've got Carino. 26 images. So what we will do is for those that have images submitted, you'll see yours come up whenever it comes up. Feel free to share a little bit of inspired you to take the photo. Go ahead and talk a little bit about it, and then we'll open it up to the audience to not necessarily give it critiques, but just to weigh in on it, what they like about it. Maybe if they see things that they can maybe offer suggestions to. But I know in my case, a lot of times these exhibition nights have been great learning experiences. We've got the annual project that is taking place right now. It began June 1st. You have all the way till July 20th is the last day that your images can be taken. Submit up to 8 images that you take as a part of this, again, personal project. Submit those and we will be sharing those. We don't have a meeting on July 16th. The next meeting will be a Zoom only, and that's on July 23rd. That's when we will be reviewing the images that are part of the project. And again, in that, we also are similar to this exhibition night. You can talk a little bit about your project, why it is that what inspired you to select that project, something about the images, and then we will vote on those with awards to be provided.
One thing on the submission process for the project, we talked about doing up to 8 images, which shouldn't be a problem, but the workaround is gonna be, you're gonna submit 4 on the page and then turn around and submit 4 more, which you can do. But if that, in that case, when you submit your images, and we'll send out some information, but you'll definitely want to put in your title like image 1, image 2, image 3. So we put them in the right order when we display them to everybody.
Okay.
Because if they don't come in marked, they can come in a random order.
Correct. Makes sense. Obviously, we do have a calendar out there on the website that has some of the events that go out beyond August. We've got the whole year filled up with a lot of great meetings and presentations and competitions. So go to the website for sure. Take a look at the rest of the things that we have there.
We have a voice activated lighting switch.
Voice activated lighting. Okay, what we're gonna do is when the image comes up, if it's your image, say your name and then any information you want to know about it.
This is my photo. My name's Jeff. And I took this down at the Great Sand Dunes. Eating a lot of sand that afternoon, but I saw this kind of textures, patterns, cropped into a square here, I think, a 4x5. But I just thought it was interesting and just looked like waves to me.
Interesting.
And because a lot of times I'm guilty of it. The big picture, right? And you take these big, massive pictures, I guess we'll call it, but looking for those small scenes within a big area. And just to have that perspective to look down and find other interesting patterns, shapes, and things like that really takes a good eye.
I've tried to slow down over the years and try to do those intimate, close-up landscapes. Still get the ratio.
Are you like how big are we?
Oh, this was probably, you're probably seeing a few feet, probably 5 feet.
Okay.
It's kind of interesting, going to take the effect away because it's nice and soft right now. What do you think?
It wasn't quite sunset or sunrise, so I wasn't getting a ton of shadows. I did a lot of dodging and burning just to bring up some of the shadows that
Yeah.
you see on the edges there. Probably would have looked better later in the day.
I wonder what it would look like upside down.
Yeah,
Because
sideways.
the peaks are all pointing down,
Mhm.
and if they were pointing up, would it look different? Or feel any different?
A lot of times when with a lot of my photos, I'll throw it in black and white and I'll adjust the different tones. And sometimes you get some really interesting stuff out of it.
Carino, do a control of bracket. There you go.
Use it from the ground up.
You know, it's like mountains now.
Actually,
Right.
I was more pointing down.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I wasn't low to the ground. I was
Oh,
probably, I don't know, shoulder height, chest
Oh.
height, and just looking straight down at it.
ah.
Or
I think
mostly
that's
straight down.
I wasn't like this, it looks mountain range like.
It's more
makes you wonder what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, very nice.
Good eye.
This is mine as well. This is in Zion, the aptly named Mini Pools Trail out in the eastern part of the park. Took a hike up there last fall. First time I've ever done that. It's pretty cool. They got a bunch of these standing water pools as you go up the hillside. I thought this one was interesting, obviously, with the kind of leading line into that, I guess, teardrop shaped pool. And then you obviously have the mountains and the sky, again, a lot of hydrogen burning. The trees on the sides, on the left and right hand sides of the hill were quite distorted, but fix those hopefully.
How wide of an angle lens did you?
It was probably 16 to 35, if
Okay.
I remember correctly. I was pretty close to the ground, not that close, but I don't know, knee height or so.
16.
Was that 16? Yeah. So they were pretty skewed on the hillside, so I had to fix that, but. They had a lot of these pools, real cool trail to do and a lot of different compositions you can get. Just check to see if the pools are filled. Sometimes they dry up in the summer, I think.
You were there in the fall, you said?
Yeah, I was there first week in November, so they had some recent rain, so you see some of the other pools there.
Okay.
They're not as busy.
And you actually still had some yellow on some of the trees and things like that in there, right?
I was there actually early, believe it or not, yeah. The eastern part of the park was, it was really late in the fall color, I was surprised, but the eastern part, higher elevation had a lot of nice color.
Nice.
But the main canyon was still, I
Right.
would say, 2/3 green, it was really late.
Okay.
Those pools leading line all the way back to that peak back there. In fact, you could probably brighten that peak just to highlight how it leads you right there. Yeah, it's a great leading line.
And again, it's one of those places where at Zion, we always know that. I'll say famous or real popular scenes or whatever. You need to see something like this, kind of like what you did with the sand dunes. Something that I don't think I've ever seen this location before, but it's great.
It's a pretty long night.
You can go as long as you want, it goes all the way up, but no, this was, you could do backing out in maybe an hour and a half, depending on how long you wanna sit there and shoot.
Okay.
But it wasn't too bad, the sandstone, but it's pretty easy to follow since you see these pools every 100 feet or so.
I cropped it down to a panna. Just because I think it looked better than the square that I had. Everything was 9x6.
Is that boat red or is it just?
That boat is red.
It is.
Yeah, you
I
could,
actually toned down the saturation.
Wow.
I love the colors.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Definitely looks good as a panel for sure.
and the colors of everything in the foreground with the lights and so forth, and you have just enough light in that sky. The rest of the scene.
I wanna have a beer right over there.
Well, there's lots of wharfside taverns, if you will. Some of them have this strange red lighting. Haven't figured that one out yet.
Like over there on the left where they just have that, so naturally the lights over there have.
there were girls standing next to the red lights.
Let's just say. Different style over there.
What time of year?
This was in April, no, March, sorry, March. Mid-March.
But nice details in there too, all the way, yeah, I'm looking in there all the way down through the back, buildings back towards the back and that. Really good.
Thanks.
Very nice color.
Thank you.
Hmm.
All right, me again. This is along the same pier, wharf, whatever. I like the way they were all lined up and then the one off to the side, going the other way.
Yeah, yeah.
Just a nice little oddity.
I like the guy in the back.
Yeah, I was gonna say same thing.
And that is not actually a real person.
It isn't?
No. They have that thing, it's just a cutout in the booth.
And apparently his name is Glenn Bach.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
A church. A wooden stave church. It's a thing over there. But the site was start first in the 1100s as a church. The buildings have changed over the years. One thing I did with this, I took out this fencing, construction fencing, all across that front there. And playing with, opened up the buildings, otherwise it's like a construction site. So
You could even play with a sky replacement on this one.
I thought about it. I played with the sky a little bit, trying to get sky selection.
Yeah, there's,
And with the trees, it was.
Oh, yeah,
you can tell with the blue in those trees, it's gonna be tough.
right.
Had of a challenge,
Yeah,
and I couldn't open up the shadows on that lowest level anymore. It was a gloomy day, but
We said March, so.
Yeah.
That tracks.
and my last one. This was a little courtyard in front of a shop, an area along the waterfront with little boutiques and restaurants, souvenir shops. I thought the plant,
The pop-up red is
Yeah.
perfect in there, right?
In the chair.
yeah,
Chair, yeah,
there's two chairs there, one's
Yeah.
kind of off to the side.
okay.
Supports for the building so they don't crush.
You'd be surprised at what's holding some of those buildings together.
Mm.
Actually, it's a repeat on, over on the right, so it's just carving or a,
It's probably something to do with the structure, because they go around the building.
okay.
So what they actually do is they have rods that go from one wall all the way through the building
Oh,
to the other side, and then that's the bracing on the outside.
Oh.
So it's holding the bricks together, and then
Holds the walls.
the rods that go through the building are actually like under floor joists and stuff, so you don't see them inside.
Yeah.
wow.
But
The
you-
wall in the building, the texture's down on the ground level, but then also over there, the wooden door or
yeah,
the wall over on the far right, just that all of those work real well together too.
I took the liberty of toning down everything vibrant saturation wise, except for the flowers, just to accentuate that. Kind of seemed like a neat little scene to me. Very inviting. And then I played with, in the doorway, I had that, so you could see all the way in there what was on display.
Yeah.
And it was too distracting. So I brought the shadows back, just so you could see a faint idea of what's in there,
Mm.
but the focus would be on the exterior.
This would also be good with a person in one of those chairs too.
With a beard.
Or one
And a
that
hat, and a hat, a fun white hat. But a beard and a cane.
Or one of the girls from the red, white.
Yeah, the
district
red
From the bar.
Two alleys over.
Yeah, that's
That's
great.
it.
Great little scene.
Thanks.
Okay, this is Bruce. I just took this in there, but we just got back from Great Britain and I just thought it was hilarious. So I want this door knocker for my house.
Where did you say this was?
Great Britain. We just got back.
It might look better in black and white just because might add to make it look vintage or, you know what I
Yeah,
mean,
might.
just change it up.
Put some grain in.
Yeah.
I think black and white would be a good idea, because then you can see some of the painting in the back, how they did do a very good job painting the door. Walking through some neighborhoods, playing around, practicing, see what I could do in the middle of the day. And this was done with a flash.
So you backlit this?
No,
And so when you said middle of the day, so to get the back really dark, was there a dark background back behind that or
it's just by using the flash, you can
to separate the?
separate it, make the background black.
Yeah, okay.
And then the flash just takes care of the subject.
And the flash like real close to the subject, like where you're right.
Yes, lens. And then Lightroom stuff, lighting the background.
Oh, okay.
Like a radial gradient.
Yeah, radial gradient just made the background lighter.
Very nice. Did you focus stack it or just?
No,
Wow.
so just walking through a neighborhood, there were some cool plants. Cool flowers.
Very.
The white oval around the flower, is that from the radial gradient or
In the rear of it, yes.
it is?
Might want to play with the feathering on that. It's kind of a sharp.
This one's mine also, this blue jay. With some food that he just got.
That was hard to photograph. They're so.
They're moving all the time.
Yeah, they don't sit still long.
Nice detail.
Yeah, really.
Real nice
Very
detail.
good detail.
Was that frost on the ground there? Or?
No, just
It's just,
the moisture, you can see a little bit there. You can see some droplets here and there.
Mm.
A little bit of moisture on the ground. This one's mine also. So Rocky Mountain National Arsenal. I was hoping for 3 deers, but they only gave me 2, so.
The clone tool.
Yeah,
Sunrise or sunset?
sunrise.
Okay.
Right.
I like the silhouette. That's good.
Yeah.
I can imagine over there where you probably were. Yeah, nice.
The entrance where.
Yeah, over on that road there. Yeah.
Yeah, where they
That's
hang out
great.
over there.
Were they heading to your Salt Lick? Is that?
Yeah, the salt lick there. Bananas,
You might want to crop the bottom up a little bit.
there's more in the bottom.
Yeah, I mean. I don't think that's much to the sky.
Yeah, I think I agree.
Come up a little bit on the bottom.
Yeah,
Right now, it's like he has the horizon on the third, but if you put that lower, is that gonna throw it off balance?
I think it's more in the sky.
I don't know when the breakthrough is.
Yeah.
Right. You could play around with that.
Yeah, moving around a little bit.
Okay, so this is Eileen Dunn Castle in Isle of Skye, Scotland.
Mhm.
And just when I got back, we just got back a couple of weeks ago. Photoshop and Lightroom had a bunch of new features. One of which is the remove distraction people feature, and I wanted to show the difference between this photo and the other one, and I go back to the other one. For me, it just.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just
Wow, it did it really
Amazing.
good.
night and day, and how much more I like this photo than the one with all the people that were there.
Wow. And that was just with that, using that feature, it cleaned it up that
That's
well.
right.
And then fills in all
Like
of the other
one,
stuff.
yeah,
as if
it's
it
like,
was-
it's like one click almost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is pretty.
Now, could you keep one person if you wanted to, or is
Yes,
that all or
well,
nothing?
if the people are separated, it will put them in different
That's right.
little block, it'll remove them all at once, but you could go in and
Individual
and
names.
unselect one,
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
This makes me wonder, the daytime long exposure that we learned about the last meeting. Just do a long exposure, get the clouds.
Yeah,
Get
the
the
other,
movement
the other
there.
thing is it was raining.
Oh,
It's like, I'm not doing that,
yeah,
but yeah, that might be.
and then that could have also gotten the people to
Kind of like
disappear.
fade into nothing or whatever. It was super crowded, I'll tell you. If you can imagine a place like that.
Coloring is rich.
Isn't it beautiful?
It
is.
Just love it.
Good leading line.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's your leading.
Somebody's home or a castle?
It's a castle,
Your Airbnb was that? what-
Airbnb, yeah,
One man's home is another man's castle.
rich man's home.
Imagine the maintenance on that guy. This is another one of mine, just playing around with my 200 to 700 lens to see what it would do with
200 to 800.
200 to 800. No, the 200 to,
Yeah, the color combos.
Yeah, it's great. The
Yeah.
background's perfect. Really.
Same thing walking through neighborhoods.
yeah, walking through neighborhoods.
This is Michael. I've been doing this practice. This one was actually this was right at sunset. I waited there until the end, and as the sun was setting, there was a glow that was casting through the sunset a couple weeks ago.
Beautiful sky.
Is there more?
Yeah.
When you go, there's like a private drive that you go through. But Jeff's been doing this for years and that with groups, and in fact, Dave Dahl was there also. But yeah, it was a good night. It was a good evening and a lot of flowers, and they were in real good shape that night.
This is recent.
Yeah, this is about maybe 2.5, 3 weeks ago, something like that.
The owner of the property is pretty tall, and we've gone up there, and as long as don't bring 75 cars and 300 people and you're quiet. We never had anybody, I've been up there 4 or 5, 6 times over the years, and nobody's ever came out and yelled at us or run us off, so.
Yeah, I asked Jeff if it was okay if I went out there. It was actually the night of our last meeting that it was the only night I had the opportunity to go. There was somebody who I was photographing that I wanted to go photograph out in his field. And he said it would be fine, just be respectful of the property.
You'll see people out there all the time taking family pictures and stuff. It's bring bug spray though.
Is this all
Yeah.
one exposure?
It was, yeah, single exposure, yeah, it was. As far as like post-processing and that, just the standard stuff, I didn't go crazy with any programs or anything, no AI or anything like that. I did just the kind of typical thing, like within, I did a little bit of select sky and darken it, richen it up a little bit, which did cause me to have to go in and do some luminosity masking around where some of the trees, where the sky blends in with the trees. I did some of that to try and make sure that I didn't have, hopefully not too much in the way of halos and that that are in there.
Sky looks like a painting.
Issues with the poppies blowing around?
No, luckily it was a nice calm evening. It was, yeah, it was nice and calm. Later on, even after this, I took some where I was getting like 3 and 4 second exposures and they were still.
Oh, really?
Nice and
Wow.
steady.
It's interesting when you take pictures, especially in the flowers, you actually get better exposures when you're in the shade. So like all those locations along the front range that tend to have no trees, or if you take portraits or flowers or whatever, it's interesting. I didn't realize it at first, but at a certain point in the evening, the mountains actually work as shade for you.
Right.
So if you hang out there long enough, you can be against those red rocks or whatever out in a location with just screaming. Normally it's just screaming sun coming down in 6:30 or something like that. The mountains themselves shade the whole area. And then all of a sudden you can bring up these rich colors.
This is mine, this is Kathy. And it was an escalator that was in the middle of a lobby and there was glass around it. So I probably took about a dozen different images with the lighting and the kind of ghost-like figure there in the center. And just, I thought a lot going on, but it was cool, it was fun.
So these are multiple layers with different opacities, or this long exposure, or what?
No, it was just point and shoot, really. It was in interior. And there was a lot of light coming from above. So it was just lots of lights, from artificial to some from the windows. And then you have the reflections of the people walking by either one side or the other of the glass.
So one of the other new features is reflections. And in this case, and it's designed to remove reflections, but it can go the other way.
Yeah, we've used the reflection removal on some images and it really improved them where they were distracting
Yeah,
reflections.
and for me, that big yellow line coming down from the top, I'd really try and tone that down because that kind of is where.
You could also go into Photoshop and see if the generative fill could get rid of some of those large fluorescent bulbs. Now we keep certain ones in because it's indicative of the reflections, but maybe just see what a AI generated version would look like. And it's really interesting as it is, but sometimes if you play with 2 or 3 different iterations, you fall in love with one.
Or I might have it on another image. They also divide things up. They divide the image up. And then there's some continuity to the other lights. And
The crisscross one.
yes or no? Are they like laser beams? Yeah, it was just fun. And as I said, I took probably about a dozen of them. There's different features on everyone. Yeah, and I guess my question is, so what category would this come in? Reflections or light or
Street.
Urban or street,
motion? Because it was an escalator.
but you're not
But
featuring.
if it's not a long
Yeah.
exposure, it's not.
You could definitely say this is a street photography.
Right.
Yeah,
And then you could do leading line. You could put this in a number of different
Right.
categories. but
Subcategories.
The only other thing I might do is, and I keep, unless it's critical to the image, if there is writing in an image, you just can't stop from reading it or trying to discern, like at the top of the escalator, what it says. So a lot of times I'll just, if there's lettering, I'll get rid of it unless like it's giving me an indication as to where in the world that is or
Yeah,
something.
there was one image I had. See this red box down in the bottom?
Yep.
It was much more prominent. I declined using that image because I thought it was too pronounced and it did have some lettering on it. I was careful about that, and yeah, and I don't know what it says up there either.
I was
This
thinking
is, yeah.
studio.
This,
It could have been, it was at the Tate Museum, the Tate Modern in London, so it could say studio or gallery or whatever.
have you tried an iteration in black and white? Because that might be interesting too.
Yeah, but I didn't, I like the colors because I think the colors defined
Yeah.
or accentuated kind of all the different things going on.
Yeah, that red definitely
Yeah, I
draws
mean,
you
I
into
like
the.
yellow. It did make a difference using auto in Lightroom versus what my images come out in a blue tone. And then when I put it on auto in Lightroom, then it comes out this way.
Have you
It's more
tried to
green
adapt
and
your
yellow.
color?
So
Oh, she's-
different color tones make a difference too. But I think black and white would just stilt it too much, would make it too flat. Okay, this is mine, and this is what I call photo shoot number 1. And I'm just setting it up for the second shot. So this is right after actually we left the Tate Museum. So this is walking on the Millennium.
Millennium.
Yeah. The walking bridge in London on a Saturday afternoon, you can see how crowded it is. So I came upon this photo shoot here. And I took a picture of that model and it really wasn't that interesting. So walking just a little bit further, and then you can go to the next one, Bruce. So I came upon another photo shoot and I had my camera right in front of me. And I asked the guy that was doing the camera work, I said, oh, gee, can I take a picture? And he said, sure. And he stepped aside and the model, I asked her and she said, sure. This is never going to happen again, where you get to butt in on a commercial photo shoot and take as many pictures as you want. I'll never have a chance like that or have an opportunity to take a model like that. So it's just fun.
There you go.
Yeah.
It was just fun. And she just was twisting and turning and posing here and there, and she was having a good time.
You have a new career for Vogue.
I was gonna say, this is not for competition. This is for exhibition, as an exhibitionist.
Do you have more
Also,
space?
you got a good
over
start.
Yeah,
You have more space over here because you kind of your fingers on.
probably not.
Okay.
Yeah, I know. I thought, oh, it's one of the rules about, as long as you can figure out what it is, you don't need the whole arm or the whole hand.
Maybe after.
In Photoshop, they have the generative expand,
Yeah.
and I used that the other day. I chopped the head off, like the forehead, and it put it in perfectly. I was just amazed. So I'm sure it could do a nice job with the fingers when you throw it in there.
Right.
Pinching it.
No, it's good.
So I thought.
That's
I thought of
really
you.
fun.
Yeah, I thought of you.
Thank you for throwing that in.
Yeah, I thought, oh, I gotta shoot Dave. So it was just fun. It'll never happen again.
Giving Dave a run for his money here.
Yeah, you are.
So Michael, this is me. I do some work with Douglas Land Conservancy and they have a event coming up in September at this location. So they had a couple of, myself and a couple of photographers go out at sunset, a couple times at sunrise. So late and very early, but it's out in Sedalia, but the event they have is September 20th. And it's like a fundraiser for the organization and that. But so when I was out there this evening, I took photos of this barn from different angles. So this is just, I have another one just before this where I got the little sun star right in the spot where you can see the brightest part of the sun here. And so just as the sun came down a little bit further, I felt like I got a little bit better glow of light up under that cloud.
So are these supposed to be for the Conservancy, just to show what's there, or?
Couple things, they're gonna use some of these images to promote their event, because the event is gonna be in the evening. They're gonna put some of these things out there for. I think that I went to it last year and they had 300 people there or something like that, so they'll be promoting it pretty soon. And so they're gonna use some of these images as part of their promotion, because then when people are there, and most people just have cell phones, but people are also welcome to bring cameras out there and take photos of, there's not just this barn, but there's a couple of other old.
What's
old
the
structures.
event about?
Douglas Land conserved open space properties throughout Douglas County, like Spruce Mountain Ranch. I think tickets are like $125 a person or something like that to attend it and have a big dinner and then they will also be auctioning off some images and who knows, maybe this will be.
You
one
know,
of
the
the ones
color's
that-
great in that.
They are not in the open space. This is on private property.
Okay.
I had access to go onto the private property.
Okay.
You can see the barn from the side of the road over there in Sedalia, but you wouldn't be able to get into a position to take this photo. I got in onto the private property.
The reason I was asking what they were for was because the one thing that kind of, I don't want to say annoys me, but the way it's touching the barn is a little bit obtrusive, so that it doesn't look like there's any way to separate the grain elevator from the barn. So in the back of my mind, I was like, maybe you could just remove the grain elevator if it wasn't for showing you exactly what's there instead of make more of a art photo.
For the purpose of what they're trying to do,
It
it's
should be
clearly
there.
there, then there might be some question on that. But I took a couple little distracting things that were on the barn off.
I mean, that grain elevator could, because it's concrete, could be
Yeah.
really bright. You've toned it down so it's less obtrusive, but
Yeah.
that was just my only question. The colors and the clouds are fantastic on it all.
So I just walked around with my infrared camera and I walked around to the backside. There's the creek that flows back over there. So I was just, there were some clouds back in there. And again, just the way that infrared treats foliage, leaves, grasses and so forth and that would make an interesting contrasty scene in that. So a little bit of blue sky was back in here, but it was mixed with clouds.
Clouds beyond the trees,
Yeah,
like directly beyond the trees, those are low clouds.
yes.
Oh, wow.
And if you could go back
Amazing.
and shoot that with no clouds behind there,
Then you would have more of that contrast.
you have the dark behind that and the white trees, it would be really.
Yeah, it's pretty, so I'm not really familiar all that much with IR stuff, but I heard that the, like, bright sunlight doesn't affect them as much. What time of the day were you here?
This was before sunset. This was earlier than the barn shot that you saw, maybe by about 45 minutes, an hour, something like that. So let's call it an hour and 20 minutes before sunset. To your point, you don't necessarily, and you can get some benefit out of a little bit low light when you're shooting infrared, but you can also get away with shooting different parts of the day and not having it be as detrimental as it is shooting middle of the day at other landscape scenes.
Really neat.
Yeah, very nice, very cool.
And water goes real dark, blue sky goes real dark. That's what Bruce was saying is that different time that opens that sky. Michael, this is me also. Same night as I did another poppy scene. So she wanted me to take some photos of her. So it was she and her husband. I was just experimenting here. This is over at a cave over in Morrison sometime. It's a big cave that they have events at up there and that, and it's private, but I know the guy who lives across the street from it, so I was able to get access to it. But the way I did, I just did this more of like experimental and that. So the way I did it is I had a cover on it towards the back, right behind him. So he's hiding that light that's pointing towards the back wall that has texture because of the cave structure. And then for her, I had her stand forward with a Godox light, but with a softbox on it, but with a grid so that the light would catch her, but not spill off onto him. So the idea was to get him in silhouette and her with light. Just again, just
Yeah.
I was actually thinking, especially coming off of Pride Month. If you had a transgender person that wanted to,
sure.
their
sure.
old life and the new life, this could be a neat.
I could do different things with different, playing around with different colors, different things like that, but yeah. You could have,
Yeah, that would
you know,
be
light going
really-
one direction of one and another going the other direction of another one or something too.
Somebody that owns a cave, huh?
He doesn't own it. He lives across the street from it, but I'll back up. It's Chief Colorado is the history behind it, and Ute Indian chief had used that to store cattle and hide. Sometimes there's an owl in there. It's pretty big space, really. Like I say, I talked to him before about seeing if we could maybe get access to it one night or do like light painting in there. I think it'd be a great place to do some of that.
This actually goes back last year sometime. Do you remember when Doug Bennett came and talked to us about the elements of a good image? And he kept talking about tonal values and the color ranges, that sort of thing. I had this image and I kept thinking that this might incorporate what he was referring to. I think the temptation on these kind of photos is to start doing a lot with vibrance or saturation. And before I did that, I just wanted to see if I understood it correctly from what he was talking about and how much kind of manipulating should be done on an image like this. And also, you can't hardly see it here, but there is a guy, there's a little speck in there. And yes, and the question also is try to highlight him or just leave him out, just cut him out.
Yeah.
He gives some kind of perspective, but you can hardly
In
see.
the
him.
foreground, is that a fence post?
The
Yeah.
fence
What?
posts are too small.
Yeah,
There's another
yeah,
light
'cause he just
spot.
looks like a speck.
He's not significant.
Yeah, sometimes it can help with having a person in there for just a sense of scale, if that's what you're
Yeah.
trying to show. I mean, I don't remember Doug Bennett's points that he was bringing up. To me, when I look at it, this one, I think he did a great job. He was talking about.
I hardly did anything. I probably brightened it up a little bit, but that's about all.
Yeah, I wouldn't increase vibrance.
It already naturally.
Lighter colored tree stump, just because it's too light.
It wasn't from any over manipulating or over photoshopping.
So.
I mean, I think it's just how the Virga, whatever in the sky.
One other thing I would add is you might want to consider a linear gradient coming up from the bottom. Just to knock down the brightness of the grass just a bit
Yeah,
to take your eye up to the rainbow.
Oh, wow.
Sure looks like a bald eagle.
Sure does.
Just went right down.
And white head and wings.
Now you can see those little white.
I think it's a speck on the.
It looked like it was raining or was just through the window.
No, it was, I was outside and I was taking a walk and I didn't have my camera, I had my cell phone and thought the rainbow was pretty cool to get a double one over, and that's over Lake Dillon. So it was just as is. And then I kept trying to figure out what Doug was talking about or what he was trying to say, and I think of the blues and then the color wheel and the color theory
And yours has good colors that work well together.
yeah. So I purposely didn't do too much until I got feedback, but as far as, yeah, I think it is too bright over there on the left. Brighten up or saturate the grasses anymore. This was probably about, I think it was about 6:30 in the evening.
This is mine camera. And I took this at Acadia National Park. And early in the morning, but landscaping is something I typically don't do, so I don't know if it's too misty or.
I like the mist.
Yeah, it's very moody.
Yeah, in a landscape scene, sometimes I think that gives it a really good. That's what I was gonna say, maybe that there's more sky than maybe it has to be there, so even make it more of a panel. Then the eyes are really on that lower part of it.
Just above the tree line.
Just above the tree line?
Yeah, the trees in the back,
Yeah.
above that.
And there's a couple things like right on the lower left,
Oh,
maybe
yeah, I
take
see
those
that.
out. That's a pretty easy fix. Just because it's right on the edge and right in the corner, I wish that, but that's taking those out.
Yeah.
You might play with the dehaze slider, just to see if you want to reduce it a little bit, or if it's just kind of tweak the haze. The fogginess and just see if it's better with less or more.
Or add more, go back and forth and see what.
For me, fog is just the most difficult thing to
It is.
do because you have a tendency to try to get more detail in the fog. So you're crisping up like a dehaze, then you realize, no, I want it to be more hazy. So you take it and go the other way, lighten it up and make it more hazy. Start driving yourself crazy, and then you start like popping back and forth between highlights and blacks and dehaze and clarity and really well, because for me, it looks very natural, but like I said, it's one of the toughest things to photograph.
You might think about that tree on the far, looks like the light's kind of coming that direction or through that side.
Yeah.
maybe a radial gradient and kind of accentuate it so that the light, like is coming from that point, or
Oh,
you could play with it and see.
okay, thank you.
Yeah, that's what I like it.
At Moosehead Lake in Maine, and was trying to get an environmental shot, because do so many birds and close-up shots that I was trying to get an environmental shot. I had cropped it down low and I really liked it down low, but then you don't see the environment.
Even if you cropped it lower, I mean, you still have the river, you have the rocks, and you have to keep that stuff on the side. There's some in the background, it would still be environmental, and it's still good. Because it's really not much above that adds to the image.
Okay.
Is that on the top of the water, or is that a gradient that you?
No, it's a mist.
It's that fog followed, that, and I like that in there. I think that adds to it also.
They were obviously looking for things to eat in the water, but I thought it was funny how they were looking in the water and then the reflection, they're good looking bird. I mean, there's a lot of junk in the background and in the water, so I don't know, prop it up. Try to take more stuff out of the background, obviously it's an intersection between its head and the rock. So, I don't know.
You don't get those birds very often with their feet, and I think they have the most interesting feet.
Had a big feet,
Yeah, they're really interesting.
like Jakartas or where they're in Africa.
So you got a nice reflection of the beat in the water.
You can see the eye too, the inflections part of it.
It might be the greatest, but I thought I'd throw it out there and see. If it's worth salvaging or if it's.
I just think you need some more.
Yeah, there is, you can definitely see some eye on the upper one, but again, since it's dark and dark, I'd rather be like that up. This is mine. I took this to Peru in 2014. I was going through it and I'm like, oh, I kind of like this. So interesting color. I guess now as I look at it, I probably should have cropped that thing out on the right. It was a little distracting. Patterns, textures, shapes.
The little edge on the left, and you don't have to take much off, that's just right on that edge, but just where there isn't any on the right, but the colors, the textures, looks nice and sharp. It's good.
And then this is another one.
Left-hand side, whatever that building is, I would
Yeah.
crop that out.
Crop it out.
The bright clouds behind the silhouette is great.
Yeah,
Above that, I don't know why it's there.
Okay. Makes sense.
I think that's the last one.
And thank you, everybody, for the feedback on that. It was good commentary, good images and great commentary.
For those of you at home, we will be recording out shortly and you can watch it. Have a good night, everybody, and a good 4th of July.